Welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny if you saw I was smiling. I got a text message from my wife saying, "Cutting it fine, husband," and that's because she gets an alert when we send something out saying a meeting's starting now. So we just sent an alert, making sure everyone doesn't forget we're on Members Night today. And there are people logged in right now in the Zoom room from Perth, Western Australia, Drumheller, Alberta, Canada, Ontario, Arizona. We have California. We've got another Western Australia, Christchurch, New Zealand, people from Indonesia, people from a place I can't pronounce, Pelopessi, Colorado, etc. So more people logging in right now. Remembering that we are live streaming on YouTube, so you can play this back for your team directly after and right now live on the official new YouTube channel. So as we kick off, ladies and gentlemen, this is Members Night. It happens every single week, and sometimes corporate runs the event. Next week it will be corporate doing some updates. And then in between that, we have our crowns rotate and run different events with different flavors, training, introductions to team members, medical events, all sorts of different things happen. And today we're really blessed because one of our crowns, who has a team right across the world into all continents, will be sharing with you, and that is Dr. Jerry. So Jerry, if you want to unmute, I'll hand the event to you.
Very good, Michael. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here and doing all of the technical things because I'm not kind of technically non-proficient. Anyway, it's been kind of a blessing of mine, I guess, because I've been able to build internationally, it seems like, with other companies. The company that prior to NUMMI that we built the biggest was in 24 different countries and was able to travel, freely to those areas. And it's amazing when you do that because you're treated really well, because you're like family, and you get shown the best restaurants and the best hotels. So you're really not a tourist. So it's like the optimal guide. The local people just really take good care of you. And just enriches your life immeasurably. And I didn't know anyone internationally when I started networking, but I'd heard about a fellow who lived in Canada, and he was an Aussie living in Canada, but I'd heard about him and I looked him up and I called him one day, and he's quite successful. And I just listened and I let him coach me. And it was probably a turning point in my entire career because I ended up enrolling him in a couple of businesses, and he went to the top of those companies. And so it was a great thing. And I did meet a lot of people through him, and I met a lot of international folks as I traveled, and it just went from there. And I like to say that in network marketing, I was just bringing in my neighbors, my friends and neighbors, talking to them, and then they knew of people. And we would, in those days, I would go do meetings, and the people that we did meetings for, they knew people in other cities, other states. And I got to where I did some meetings in some other states, and I was on kind of a circuit. And those people knew people in other countries. And it wasn't long before we had this international organization. And I felt like when I joined NUMMI, I hadn't really networked in a while. And I felt like it had all kind of fallen away. But it just seems to come back if you just practice those simple techniques. If you just reach out, you're talking with people, you're listening, and mostly listen rather than talk. And eventually they know people that live out of the country. And it just so happened that I actually brought in a good friend of mine that I've known for almost 30 years to NUMMI, Chris Kinney. And Chris Kinney brought in somebody that we both knew in another company. His name's Bob Steenledge. And Bob Steenledge brought in Dr. Ron, and Dr. Ron brought in Carol Escalano, and Carol Escalano brought in Lucy Yee. Well, that chain became a magical chain because amazing things began to happen. And again, I'm blessed to have met people in this industry, but it continues. Lucy Yee is an amazing individual, and she's hung in there. She's originally from Belarus, and so her first language is Russian. And because of my travels back when, I picked up a little Russian. And so, when I first spoke with her, I said, Ocean Priyatna, happy to meet you. And she was like, oh my gosh. And so she was really happy about that. And I recall that vividly. And I told her that the most common phrase I would use when I would travel in Russian-speaking countries is "Я вас не понимаю," and I'll ask Lucy to explain what that means. I'm sure she knows. "Я вас не понимаю." Anyway, I want to introduce Lucy Yi tonight because she's someone special. She actually just has the qualities you want of someone on your team. She achieved, senior manager and then 1 star and then kind of got hung up around 2 star. And she just hung in there. And I could tell that she just started digging really deep. And just her personality, I think, sparked it. We'll talk with her a little bit about that. But she ended up building in Latvia, another Russian-speaking country. And I believe there's another country there. I should know it. What's that? Lithuania.
Lithuania.
That's right. So, and the group is exploding. And one thing about Lucy that I really love is that there's no greed whatsoever. She just works for her team. And she has diamond volume, but she keeps working with the team in Europe, just very selflessly. A lot of people in this industry, to get the diamond, you would need, another 1 star leg. But she's running with the people that are making it happen while it's happening. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. In fact, I worked closely with a fellow, his name's Bill Womack. Bill and Judy Womack, and Bill passed away about 5 years ago. God rest his soul. Anyway, great man. And some of you on this line may recall Bill Womack. Anyway, Bill had a saying, and it sounds a little crass, but actually, I think if you really think about it, it's right on. And Bill used to say, you run with your horses. And that makes sense. And Lucy has some horses right now, and she's running with them. You feed your tigers. Your tigers are the ones that are hungry. They don't know how to network, but you teach them. So you feed them. And you shoot your dogs. And that's the crass part, that you shoot your dogs. But the dogs are the people that just come in and they bark a lot. They make a lot of noise, but they never do anything. So you don't waste your attention and your time on that, because that will pull you down. And Lucy, if you, Michael, if you want to highlight Lucy here, we'll bring her on. Thank you for being here again. And I really, really appreciate working with you. We've been doing regular Zooms with your European team. And I just love that group. It's just so heartwarming to have them there and speak with them. It brings me back to the days when I traveled in Eastern Europe and in Russian-speaking countries, and there was a lot of warmth there, a lot of kindness. They'd invite you in and feed you and ask if you wanted tea or coffee, and they just take such good care of you. And one of the people that I met in Slovakia, she was from Russia, and she said, Russians, she invited me in to her family, and she said, Russians are different than Americans. We like to just put the food on the table, and it's simple. And it was simple, but it was delicious. And the people were great, and a very warm, great experience. And it's just an amazing thing to be a part of that world. And you realize truly that we are all connected. We all do want the same things. And we are all brothers and sisters, stemming back to that one creative source. And I think network marketing, one of the great things about it is it brings people together and helps them realize that. And so it has a real opportunity to heal the world in multiple ways. But Lucy, tell us a little bit about your strategies. You definitely hung in there, and all of a sudden things sparked. Tell us what happened with that spark. How did you all of a sudden go from, having 2-star volume to diamond volume?
Mhm.
And what happened around that time?
Well, when I came into the business to begin with, I um I came in as a customer actually. I came in because of the product, and I was so impressed with the results of the product, how effective our products are, that I wanted to see what's behind it. And I've been in the industry for over 25 years, and I've done really well. And I've been on the top of the um, compensation plans, and I've mostly worked with English-speaking partners. This is actually my first time that I'm actually speaking with Russian-speaking partners, and there are about 97% of them are in my group, and it's been a lot of fun. But when I started, it was because of the product that I got excited, and then when I saw what's behind it, uh, I've learned about all the facts behind this company, and I got even more excited. And then I made a decision at the time in my life that I'm gonna just work this business part-time, just balanced. I came in just doing this part-time, doing following, the protocol. I created my list. I started calling my immediate friends, and I wasn't running as I have done before. I decided just to go normal, just to do other things and do this. But of course, I kept on moving forward, and I was learning more and more. I'm getting more and more excited every day about the product, about the business as well. And I've been steadily building my business until well, of course, my business slowly went into Europe. It went into Germany and Spain, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, and more countries as well, Netherlands and UK. And so my team has expanded over the period of time. And then there was this Zoom, and this amazing leaders came on the Zoom. And of course, to get these leaders in, it takes the right approach, the right energy, to get them interested, and of course, signing them up is just the beginning, working with them. So with building trust, building relationships. So I was able to do that. We started working together, and they just took off. They just started running. And of course, I'm here. I'm representing this company from United States. They're in Europe. So at this time, we don't have a toll-free number or support line. So I had to support them. I started running with them. And today we have 2 diamonds on this team. And I am building my other legs as well. I am building wide now. I am going 3-star this month with the volume of probably by the end of the month, like close to 80,000 or more, I think. So I am working with everybody, with my team members, but I am diligently running right now. Forget about the balanced life that I plan to have in Yumi. I've been just waking up super early to get my things done, to take care of my plants and my animals, and just get to work and get it done. I ended up stopping everything else I was doing, and I'm just doing this to support the team.
And you support it very well. I know many times that there can be issues because it's international, and there might be an issue with pay or shipping, and it falls on your shoulders because you speak Russian, and so you're going to customer service at Numi, getting these things resolved, and so definitely it's turned into a full-time job. But your reward will be immense because it's such a great team. I can see and sense the people on these calls we've been doing, these Zoom calls. They are focused. They ask great questions. They're excited, and you're the one that's bearing that light. You're the one that's carrying that load, and it's a lot. I know that when I first started network marketing, the fellow that coached me said that he was the one that said the 90-day focus build, and he said you give up a lot. And it's not really just 90 days. When you go that 90 days and you really focus, what happens is you realize you set the stride for your team, because by that time you've got a couple of people that are working with you, and you're their example. You're their light bearer. They're following you. And what happens is now they do their 90-day build. So you're there for them. And so now you're supporting that next level. You're supporting that activity. And then they become examples for the people they bring in. And you're still the leader. So you're still doing, and I know it very well, you're still doing a lot of the 3 ways, a lot of support. But the other thing that my mentor taught me was you will work harder than you've ever worked in your life for less money than you've ever made. Now that sounds terrible, right? Work harder for less money. But then he said, the good part is if you do it after that first year, you will work less for more money than you ever dreamed possible, and you can realize all of your dreams. And that's what he taught me, and that's the formula I've used, and it works. You create the momentum. Network marketing is all about momentum, and for momentum, you support. And Lucy is one of the best people at that. She's in the trenches. She's supporting her team. She's doing the customer service with them and for them. And she continues day in and day out. She's an inspiration for her team and for me. So it's just a great thing to be a part of, Lucy. By the way, ya vas na punyamayo. What's that mean?
I don't understand you. You said я вас не понимаю.
That's what I would say more than anything else. The ya vas na punyamayo, because they talk too fast.
Mhm.
I don't understand you.
I do want to say that we have a team. We have a team.
Hiroshi.
I'm not the only one. We have an amazing team of Russian-speaking leaders, and we're supporting one another. So without them, I wouldn't be able to support this amazing diamond. So we have an amazing team.
It truly is about people helping people help people. And it really bonds everyone together and creates this great team and this great camaraderie that you can't get anywhere else. In the corporate world, it's about stepping on people. It's trying to get promoted over other people. There's no cooperation. In network marketing, you have to cooperate if you want to succeed. You will get rewarded by that cooperation, and there's no competition. So that's the thing I love. And another thing I wanted to say, Lucy is amazing, but there's so many people on the team. It's hard to, there could have been some other people I could have brought on here. In fact, Fernando Gonzalez, he's going to be making Crown really soon. He's got really good momentum, growing in Peru and Bolivia and in Europe. But he's his language is Spanish, and he would need an interpreter. But there's so many people, you hate to single anyone out. Lucy is a great example and a great trooper, and there are many others in the team. It's just again, it's a blessing to be a part of a group like this. But Lucy, it just struck me that you're the one that needs to be recognized because of how really focused you are right now, and how much you're doing for this team, and it's resulting in exponential growth that will change your life. And it's an amazing thing to watch from my perspective.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm thankful for all the amazing leaders, for you, Dr. Jerry, I'm thankful to Michael, and for just everybody who's been extremely supportive.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much. The other thing I wanted to talk about tonight, and again, thank you so much. You're just amazing and doing amazing work. So we could bring you on here in a minute, but I also want to talk about compliance in terms of what we say. It doesn't matter, and Lucy, you're another example of this. Every time we do a call with her group, she says we can't make medical claims, we can't talk about diseases. But what are the first questions they ask? We just did a call a week ago, and the first questions was about what does the squish, glutathione, what does it do for a disease? And I wanted to address that because I still deal with that all the time, and my answer is pretty much always the same. And so in a larger venue, I wanted to address that so people could get a better grasp of what you can and cannot say, because it's very frustrating. We get these testimonials of people that have these conditions, these unnameable conditions, and we feel like we want to run out and talk about that. Well, if we do, that's a medical claim. But the thing you can do, you can recognize the fact that this human organism, our body was divinely created, divinely inspired, divinely created. It is infinitely intelligent. There are trillions of mechanisms going on literally every second of every day, 24/7. There are things we don't have to think about that go on all of the time that help to keep our body balanced and help keep us well. And I believe, and many researchers, scientists, and doctors believe, that the linchpin in all of that, creating the balance, is this amazing molecule that I actually call the miracle within, glutathione. And the reason I call it the miracle within, because we create glutathione inside our bodies, inside the cells, because the body in its infinite intelligence knows that it needs glutathione in order to survive. If it doesn't create it, we die. In numerous reasons. Stephen Scott is the best at giving us line by line by line various reasons. There's 400 different functions. But I like to talk about the liver because that's where I actually found glutathione. And Stephen's right. In the medical text, there's about a paragraph. I remember Guyton's Physiology talked about the endogenous antioxidants. Endogenous means the ones we make. And it was catalase, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione. But it did say that glutathione was the ultimate. It is the most versatile, and it is the one that was the most important. But then that was it. So it's no wonder that even most doctors, and Stephen mentions this all the time, most doctors don't even understand glutathione or what its immense importance, because it wasn't really taught to them in medical school. Why? It wasn't taught because it's so difficult to get into the body. The one way that it's used in medicine primarily is in emergency procedures. In fact, if you have an acetaminophen overdose or some overdose of other drugs, it's recommended to IV glutathione because that's the detoxification agent. And if you talk to an emergency room physician, they go, oh yeah, that's what we do. But most just general practitioners don't often use glutathione because they saw it as very difficult to get it into the body, and it is. And that's what happened with us. Back in 1985, even, we were dealing with people that had chronic issues in many different, I shouldn't mention diseases because I talked about not mentioning them, but a lot of chronic issues. And we tracked it back to gut, liver, and immunity. All three of those are supported by glutathione. And you can say that. Liver function is supported by glutathione, and the liver has 500 known functions. Back in the day, back in the 80s, we said 300 known functions because as we study, we find out more and more and more, but the liver has everything to do with the blood. It gets all of those factors in the blood right, whether it's enzymes or hormones, precursors, or all the metabolic factors. It's interacting with all of your different organ systems, the GI system, the endocrine system, the brain, all of these different systems. It's kind of orchestrating them. Like if all of your organs were members of an army, the liver would be the general. It's kind of orchestrating everything. Very important. But the liver is challenged by the gut if the gut isn't functioning. And so we tracked it back to the gut issue causing the liver issue. Well, the gut, it's very important the gut has adequate glutathione to function properly and to build the membranes strong so you don't get a leaky gut. And these days, the assault on the gut is just phenomenal. And so it becomes leaky. Most people have a degree of leaky gut. And the other thing that becomes challenged when those two factors are kicking in, leaky gut, overloading the liver with these large molecules, the other thing is the immune system becomes exhausted and becomes slap happy. And autoimmunity is easily happens when the immune system becomes tired and doesn't function optimally well. Glutathione is one of the greatest things to support the immune system. So knowing these kinds of things, we don't have to talk about diseases because it's the systems of our body, the brilliant mechanisms that keep us well and keep us balanced. Those are the things that are the miracle. Not a product. There's no miracle doctor. It's the miracle within. The issue is just being able to upregulate it because ironically, from about 20 years old is the most glutathione you'll ever have. And after that, every every day you have a little bit less. Why? That's a huge question. And I believe it's because of all of the assaults that we're under, especially in the modern world, the stress that we have in the modern world. And you look at the mechanisms of how glutathione is created. It's created inside the cell by a series of genes being active. And the final gene, a GCL gene, you don't need to remember that, but it's just the final gene that puts the glycine and the glutamic acid and the L-cysteine together, that becomes blocked by heavy metal toxicity, by mycotoxins, which is mold toxicity, and deficiencies of things like magnesium, selenium, and things like that. So those things begin to slow down that gene, and we produce less and less glutathione, but we actually need more and more and more of it. It's very ironic. So the issue was to try to, how do we get more of it? We couldn't take it through our mouths. We couldn't, IV has its own complications, very difficult. As I said, it's used in emergency situations primarily, and some anti-aging doctors use it consistently, but not enough to create those conversations so that it's massively used in medicine. So Stephen Scott's breakthrough of hydrostat, which is bending the water molecule to create an envelope, it's absolutely brilliant, and shrinking the glutathione molecule small enough that the envelope can grab it, and it carries it instantly from the mouth into the blood and from the blood into the cell. Absolutely brilliant. That's what I found out 2 years ago. That's when I decided to jump all over this and do the plan, the 90-day focus. And then the next level, as the people that I brought in are focused on building for 90 days, supporting that activity. And when the third line starts to happen, supporting that activity right on through. And is it difficult? Absolutely. Is it time consuming? Absolutely. But would I have it any other way? No way. Because now there are leaders like people like Lucy and Fernando and so many more, Jeannie Grosso and so many more that I don't want to start mentioning names, because then you start leaving people out, and I don't want to leave anyone out. The team is filled with leaders because each layer, each generation of leader has been an example for their next generation. Keith Chassan is amazing. Again, I don't want to mention names because then I'll leave people out. But it's the greatest industry in the world. You just have to find the right company, the right ownership, the right compensation, and the product has to be unique. You can't just pick it up anywhere. And it's better if the company manufactures it. Check, 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 right down the line. So we truly are blessed. And it's just an honor to be here tonight. It's an honor to have met people like Michael Firth, Alex Monterosa. Maybe Alex can interview Fernando Gonzalez when he goes crown, because he will. And people like Lucy Yee. So I just want to thank everyone for being on this call. I don't know, Lucy, if you want to give any final words, I would love it if you do. And jump on in there if you can. You have to unmute. You're muted.
Well, I just want to tell everyone that I'm really grateful for your, again, I already said it before, for your support, for the amazing platform. I'm learning so much from this platform. For every member on this team, for your inspiration. I am listening to all the calls, I'm attending the events, and every one of you inspire me. So I just want to thank everyone.
Thank you. In Russian, it's spasibo большое. Thank you very much. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you for being here. You're all true leaders. and we love you from our bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much.
All right, as we wrap up, guys, great call. Thank you, Jerry. Tomorrow, just a reminder, guys, Steve Scott online, and you can get as many people as possible in front of him. Actually, Jerry probably wants to say that because I know you were on pretty much every single call with Steve, so I'll hand it to you for promotion.
Actually, Michael, Stephen Scott knows more about glutathione than any doctor, scientist, or researchers that I've ever spoken with. And they've taken the Hydrostat technology, of course, into a woman's product, hers, and we're launching a new product for the brain. And remember that triad that I mentioned, gut, liver, immune system? Well, it's actually there are 4 things that are really, really important, and the 4th is the brain, because the brain also communicates constantly with all of those organs, and we'll have that brain product in Hydrostat as well. So it's an amazing thing. But tomorrow's call, same time as this one, on the same place, and Stephen is the best. And as I said, he can go line by line by line. And I know when I cover for Steve, I definitely feel like I'm the second string quarterback or the relief pitcher, because Stephen is the best. So don't miss it, and get your team there as well. So just wanted to say that. I told Michael I would say that. So sorry, I forgot about that.
Perfect. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. What a great call. Thanks.